Welcome back, everybody. We have a special video for you today. Tom DeLonge's long-lost Canadian brother has challenged me to a challenge. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the challenge is for me to find 5 games that are under $10 that are actually fun games that I would recommend to other people to pick up and play. I think something along those lines. I have watched many of the videos in the lineage of this challenge, and I recommend everyone else go and do the same. I'll leave links down below in the description. I had a lot of fun with this. It turns out I own many inexpensive games that are actually pretty good. When making my list here, I tried to stay away from games that other people featured in their lists, and I tried to stay away from games that I have covered recently in my own videos. I again want to thank Retro Kart Collector for the challenge. Everyone make sure you go check him out. He makes awesome content. Love watching his videos. He's a really cool, fun guy. And stay tuned until the end of the video, where I will reveal who I passed the challenge on to. Fun stuff. The first game we're going to talk about is actually the newest release in the list, and it is actually 2 games. That's right, I'm already sneaking in extra games. It's actually 2 games that were originally developed by 17-bit. Up first we have Galaxy the Void and Skulls of the Shogun Bonafide Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Galaxy was originally released for the PS4 in 2015. It is a roguelike shooter with an 80s anime aesthetic. You play as ATAC, the last remaining survivor of his squadron. Let me just get this out of the way. This game is freaking hard. When I was first digging through my games to decide what to include, I saw that this cartridge was at the appropriate price point, and I was excited to finally pop this into my Switch. I had had it for a while and just had never gotten the chance to play it. After playing for a few minutes, I thought I had struck out and had to find another game. This game can be incredibly frustrating, and I initially was not having a very good time with it. You have very little health, and the controls were just not clicking with me. Long story short, I am very glad that I did not give up on this cartridge. With Galaxy, you really need to take your time and get very comfortable with the controls and the mechanics. The more I played, the more it started to click. Now, even after having played for a good bit now, it is still incredibly difficult, even on the much more forgiving arcade setting, but it is an undeniably amazing feeling when you are finally able to make it a little further and complete an episode. Galaxy the Void is a great game that is sure to frustrate, possibly even infuriate, but if you are willing to take the time and learn how to succeed, you have an incredibly rewarding experience on your Nintendo Switch.
Taking Imperial fire! My shields are blown! Another one down!
The second game on the cartridge is Skulls of the Shogun Bonafide Edition. The original incarnation of the game was released for Steam in 2013. Skulls of the Shogun is a turn-based tactics game where you play as General Akamoto, who is betrayed and killed by his lieutenant. Akamoto must now battle his lieutenant in the afterlife in order to become the Shogun of the Dead. I love playing tactical games like this, but I never seem to make time to do so nearly often enough. Researching this video, it seemed that some people complained about a lack of depth in this game, but I disagree with that. I think there is a lot to like here in the gameplay department, and I had a great time with it. The humor is very well done, and I think the graphics work perfectly for the setting and the gameplay. There's a mechanic in the game that has you eat the skulls of your enemies in order to power up, and it is incredibly satisfying to do so. Out of the 2 games on the cartridge, this is definitely my favorite and the one I've put the most time into so far. Price charting lists and even $10 is the going rate for a loose cart, and $16 for complete in box. I got my copy from GameStop for $8.99, and I've seen many listings comparable to that price. There are many hours of gameplay within this cartridge, and I think it's a great way to spend $10. The next game was actually the first game that came to my mind when I was challenged for this video. Whenever I get around to finally making my NES Hidden Gems video, this game is going to be at the top of my list. Up next on the NES, we have Aion AX. Aion AX was published in 1990 by Jaleco. There was an arcade version called the Aion AX that differs considerably from the NES version that was released shortly before. In the game, you play as a 16-year-old high school student who keeps having dreams about a babe who is calling out to him. On his way to school one day, the sun gets all f***y, and he is transported to a mysterious realm. He then meets a fairy who has the unfortunate name of Cutie. Cutie? Now come on, isn't that a really weird name? Tells Aion AX that he has been summoned to this strange land in order to rescue the Princess Rosebud, who is being held prisoner by the big bad guy Blackhorn. Aion AX is an action platformer where you control Aion AX, who may be the most buff high schooler that has ever existed. I mean, look at the size of this kid. Oh my god. Your starting weapon is an axe, but can be powered up twice, first into a spear, then a sword. There is a power gauge for your weapon that depletes when you attack and refills when you aren't attacking. Similar to Legendary Axe for the TurboGrafx-16, this means that your weapon does the most damage when your power meter is full. It's a fun mechanic that forces you to be more strategic with your button presses. You also have a magic meter and 3 forms of magic at your disposal. The first thing I noticed the first time I played Aion AX was how freaking huge your character is. A lot of the characters are big beefy boys, and I think it's really impressive. People seem pretty divided on this one, but I think this game is great, and I don't really understand why some people really dislike it as much as they do. I have a blast every time I fire this one up. I think the graphics are very nice and the gameplay is very solid. The soundtrack to this game has some genuine bangers. I don't know that all of the music rises to the rank of phenomenal, but some of the songs are among my favorites on the console. Now, the game is not without its faults. I always find Knockback to be a pretty unwelcome addition to any game. There also isn't the most variety with the enemy types, but any annoyance was short-lived because I was having such a good time all around. Aion AX goes for about $8 loose, according to price charting, and hell yeah, it is worth that price. This was the second game that I bought when I decided to start collecting NES games. I only bought it because I saw it in my local retro game store. It was cheap, and I saw GameSack covered at one point. Thank you, Joe. Aion AX is a great choice for anyone who is looking for a solid experience for cheap on the NES. When I was going through my game collection and trying to decide what games to cover, I knew that I had to cover at least one game from the PlayStation. It's a console that I just haven't been able to cover very much on the channel yet, and I definitely am ready to start changing that. Next up, we have Asteroids for the PlayStation. Asteroids was published by Activision in 1998. This was actually the first game that I bought for my PlayStation. Why did I buy it? Well, because I liked the Asteroids arcade game, and it was super cheap. Luckily, my gamble paid off, and this is a great title for the PlayStation. This game is very much just an advanced game of Asteroids. Everything that one would like in the original can be found here with improved graphics and additional enemy types and mechanics. I think the graphics work very well for the experience, with me particularly enjoying the ship designs. There are different ships to choose from that have different stats, allowing for you to find one that caters more to your style of gameplay. There is a story here, but it's nothing groundbreaking or notable, but it's nice to have. Some of the additions to gameplay include asteroids that grow back if you don't completely destroy them, asteroids that can't be destroyed, and levels with hazards like black holes. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this remake for the PlayStation, but it is a very good addition to the franchise. It features the beloved, time-tested gameplay of the arcade classic with a new coat of paint and some new tricks. I think it was a home run. There is even an unlockable in this game that allows you to play the original Asteroids arcade game, and I think that's very cool. This goes for $6 complete in box according to price charting. If you like Asteroids and you like PlayStation, and you see this for $5 or $6, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you pick it up. So looking at my list of games while I was writing the script, I realized that I had actually captured gameplay and researched 6 games. So that means it's time for the bonus game! Lucky you, huh? Next up, we have Mega Mania for the Atari 2600. Mega Mania was published in 1982 by Activision. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I had decided to not cover any games that I had recently covered on the channel, and that cut out a lot of spectacular Atari games that come in at below $10. Seriously, some of the best games on the entire console can be had for less than $10. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of spectacular games that cost less than $5. So much so that one day, I think I'm going to make at least one video that talks about the best Atari 2600 games that are less than $5. Mega Mania is a game that comes in at less than $10 that I would definitely recommend. It is a fixed shooter where you play as an intergalactic pilot who, after gorging himself on ice cream and pizza, finds himself in a hallucinatory nightmare world where he is being attacked by hamburgers, bow ties, and space dice. I'm going to remind everyone who might have forgotten, I frickin' love old Atari game lore. What really separates Mega Mania from the other fixed shooters on the console, besides the interesting choices of enemies, is the odd patterns that the enemies move around in. This is one that I find myself continuing to play after dying, because it just feels very satisfying to continue to make it further in the ensuing madness that each new wave brings. I am especially fond of fixed shooters for the 2600, and Mega Mania is among my favorite in that category. According to price charting, Mega Mania goes for around $9 loose, and I have a hard time imagining that anyone who is buying games for the 2600 wouldn't at least get a little bit of fun out of this one. The next game is from another console that I haven't had too much of a chance to cover on this channel yet, the N64. Up next, we have Tetrisphere. Tetrisphere was published in 1997 by Nintendo. Originally planned for the Atari Jaguar, Tetrisphere is a puzzle game where you are trying to clear blocks by getting 3 pieces of the same type to touch as the result of a drop. It's actually really easy to get a hang of, but it'll take a while to figure out how to be more deliberate in your drops in order to rack up big combos, which will provide you with power-ups. The main single-player mode is called Rescue, and it tasks you with clearing enough pieces to be able to free robots that are trapped inside the sphere. There are also several other game modes available. I got Tetrisphere in an episode of Too Many Boxes, and I was not expecting very much from it. I have played a lot of less than stellar Tetris clones over the years, and I assume that this would be yet another one of those lackluster experiences. But I'm very happy to say that I was very, very wrong. I fell in love with this game pretty quickly. The gameplay loop is very rewarding and addictive, and the presentation, in my opinion, is spot on. Rounding it all out is one of my all-time favorite video game soundtracks. This techno-influenced soundscape is one that I enjoy outside of the game, and you'll find Tetrisphere tracks all over my videos, including the background music for this very video. Tetrisphere goes for around $10, and I think that's a really good deal. If you like puzzle games and are looking for something a little different with a really killer soundtrack, I highly recommend that you check this one out. The last game for today is from yet another console that I just haven't had much time to cover yet. We have Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One. Now, part of my criteria was to not talk about any games that I saw others have already talked about in this challenge, and Nostalgia Lane covered this one in his video. I was really excited about this one when I got it in a mystery box. I had never heard of this game, and the game box really made it sound appealing. Watching Nostalgia Lane's video just furthered my desire to play this one, so I decided to throw out the criteria in order to allow me to finally give this one a try. I am such a rebel that I even break my own rules. Sunset Overdrive was published in 2014 by Microsoft Studios. It is an open-world action-adventure game where you play as a janitor that is trapped in a city that is overrun by mutants that were caused by a new energy drink, which I do love that story. Worries me because I drink a lot of energy drinks. The storytelling, presentation, and humor are all spot on and complement an incredibly engaging and enjoyable gameplay experience. This game caused me to laugh out loud constantly, and I found it immediately endearing. There is a lot of pop culture references, and the game is constantly poking fun at gaming cliches and breaking the fourth wall in ways that were not annoying and furthered my enjoyment of the experience. The gameplay focuses a lot on momentum and creative traversal of the environments. There are rails to grind on everywhere and places for you to make big jumps, aiding you in an exciting parkour experience that rewards you for constantly staying in motion and being creative in your combat. I definitely can feel a Jet Set Radio influence in this game. This game kept a giant grin on my face the entire time that I played it, and while it might not be the most celebrated game on the Xbox One, it has quickly risen to being one of my favorites. Sunset Overdrive goes for $6 complete according to price charting, and that blows my mind. This is one of the best gameplay experiences I have had in a while, and it contains way more than $6 worth of enjoyment. I cannot recommend this one enough. Definitely check out Sunset Overdrive for your Xbox One.
You did it! I mean, not that I had any doubt that you would. Wait here. Hey, Dirk. I got something I think you might like.
Sick. That's good. Purest water on earth. Thanks, Sam. You rock.
And there we go! 5 games for under $10 that frickin' rock! I really loved making this one, and again, I want to thank Screech from RetroCart Collector. Thank you, dude. This was awesome. Really a lot of fun. Everyone make sure to show him all kinds of love. If you aren't subscribed, go do it. Now it's time for me to choose someone to challenge. I actually might have had the hardest time during the production. Like this part might have been the hardest part of making this entire video, was trying to decide who to challenge. I had like a list of like 10 possible people, and I thought it would be kind of silly and ridiculous for me to actually challenge all of those people. So I've narrowed it down to 2. I decided to go with 2, at least 2, just in case maybe one of the people I challenged have already done it, even though I researched and tried my best to make sure that they haven't. Or if maybe one of the people that I challenged just doesn't want to do it. So hopefully at least one person will be able to accept the challenge. My first choice is the Man Boy Cave. This is a great channel, really fun to watch. They do a lot of pickup videos, like figure unboxing videos, collection videos, things like that. And they have been really active in my comment section, and I always love hearing from them. I love talking to them in the comments. And I am very excited to see what games they choose for this challenge. I think it'll be really fun and interesting to see their choices. They seem to have a very nice game collection to choose from. The other channel that I have decided to throw down the gauntlet and challenge is Viro's Vault. This is another frequent flyer in my comment section, but another one that I love their content. I love watching their videos. Vyro does great unboxing videos. He does collection videos. He does gameplay videos. He's a lot of fun. He also has this really cool show with Angry Monkey Games, who I'll also shout out because I always love shouting out Angry Monkey Games. You're my dude. But he and Vyro do a show called Three-Way Stop, which is really cool, where they, those two and another friend of theirs all start a game at the same time, and I think they have an hour, and they try to see who can beat the game first, or who gets the furthest along within that hour. Really cool idea, really cool show. Definitely go check out Vyro's Vault and Angry Monkey Games. You know what? Just on a whim, just because, why not? Because I've already mentioned Angry Monkey Games. This just in. This was not scripted or planned, but heck, why not? Angry Monkey, you want to do a video too? Why don't you show us 5 awesome games that you have that are under $10? I know you have a pretty substantial collection, and I've seen you buy a lot of games for great deals. So, you know what? I'm throwing all the rules out the window at the end here. I'm challenging 3 people. I'm challenging the Man Boy Cave. I'm challenging Vyro's Vault, and now I'm challenging you, Angry Monkey Games. I've been watching too much wrestling. But for anyone who hasn't checked out Angry Monkey Games, another awesome channel. He does retro game treasure unboxings. He does other unboxings. He does gameplay. He's also involved with that 3-way stop I was talking about. So definitely go check him out. And I'm very excited to see what he will choose also. That'd be cool. And I'm very excited to see who those 3 challenge at the end of their videos. I'll leave a link below of all of the different channels that have already done this challenge, for a couple reasons. One being if Vyro's Vault, Man Boy Cave, or Angry Monkey Games want to watch the other videos in the series to get ideas and see what other people have covered, there's that. And for anyone who enjoyed this video, enjoyed this topic, and wants to see the other videos in the series, I will leave a link to all of the videos that I know of in this series. And with that, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye. So kiddos, I hope we all learned a valuable lesson today. Let's sing about it.